Hey guys, welcome back to Auto Repair guys. Thank you guys for watching and subscribing to the channel. Today will be super helpful video to any of you having a Hyundai Sonata. If you have a Hyundai Sonata guys and you want to know the symptoms of bad head gasket, stay with us, we'll explain that today. Before we start, let me tell you a little bit about us. Every single car we get at the garage, we try to make at least 200 to 300 free repair videos. Why we do that? Simply because our mission in the shop is to save you as much money as we can. All we need in return, please subscribe to the channel, like the video. That way we can keep providing these absolutely free videos to you. Now, if you need to buy any parts, tools for a good price and quick shipping, check out the link in the description of the video below. That's where we get all our tools and supplies from. So this specifically guys, it's a 2.4 GDI engine, but even if you have a different engine, procedure is about the same. Let's explain the most common symptoms of bad head gasket on Hyundai Sonata. So with the engine removed, cylinder head gasket and engine block here, everything, we can actually demonstrate how things work. The head gasket is actually guys located, as you can see, it will be located right between the cylinder head and the engine block. Okay, you can see right here between the two. The gasket consists of three different components. One, it will keep compression in the cylinders. Okay, around the cylinders it will have a gasket. Number two, it will have a gasket around the coolant chamber, so it doesn't allow coolant to go in the cylinder or compression to come to the cylinder. And number three, it has a gasket around the oil passages as well. So three things that it does, but when it fails, it can cause quite a bit of trouble. Number one thing, the most common thing when a head gasket fails, okay, it will actually your car will start overheating, and you wonder why. Simple, because let's say the gasket component fails right here between the coolant and the compression chamber, the cylinder guys. What will happen when your engine is running and the piston goes up, explosion happens to push the piston down, extreme pressure is created in the cylinder. As a result, if the gasket is blown, that pressure, that hot air will be pushed, okay, straight into the cooling system. From there the cooling system will develop heat, also will develop air pocket that can prevent coolant from flowing freely in the cylinder head and the engine block, and as a result guys, at that point you can severely overheat your engine, and if you overheat it a lot, you can wrap the cylinder head, the engine block, everything will need to be resurfaced, and new gasket will need to be installed. Now, number two, what else can happen? Okay, if you notice that you have bubbles in the cooling system, okay, the cooling tank right there, if you have bubbles, okay, if you have really hard pressure in the radiator hoses when the engine is running, you may be putting air, okay, in the cooling system. Number two, you may mix engine oil and coolant. If the gasket fails somewhere here, what can happen? Because the coolant gets hot, you overheated the car or something like that, sometimes it will fail. Coolant and oil can mix. Usually coolant will go towards the oil because the coolant is under high pressure. Oil is just coming down usually, okay, most of the times. So it will have lower pressure or no pressure, and as a result, when it comes down guys, okay, the coolant, when it's hot, it will get in the oil. You pull the dipstick, and if you see milky color on the dipstick, okay, and maybe even your oil level increases, it means that you have coolant in the engine oil, which could be catastrophic if you don't fix it on time, and eventually the gasket will fail as well. Number three guys, okay, something else as well. You may notice, okay, that your car is misfiring. If a car is misfiring, in some cases it could indicate multiple problems such as fuel injectors, ignition cause. You may have guys multiple things that can cause misfire, but if everything else checks out fine and it's still misfiring, coolant may be getting in the cylinder, that will make the spark plug wet, and the spark plug is wet, it doesn't work. Then fuel will go, coolant, and that wet spark plug, okay, will cause misfiring, and you may even lose compression in some cases on 1-2 cylinders, which can cause misfire. So you can check compression test on the cylinders and find out if the head gasket is good or bad. Another thing, okay, if you lose so much compression, you may not be able to restart your car. Because if you drive with a blown head gasket, eventually it will lose compression. It will not have enough compression in a couple cylinders, maybe even more, and that will be, okay, make your car really hard to start or not being able to start as well. Another thing, if you're putting air in the coolant, sometimes you may notice that your heater during the winter months can stop working as well, because it will develop an air pocket, and that will prevent coolant from going to the heater in the cabin, and your heater will be blowing cold even though the engine is hot, which makes no sense, I know, but air can prevent coolant from flowing freely. Those are some of the most common, okay, symptoms of bad head gasket on Hyundai Sonata. Another symptoms of blown head gasket, guys, could be losing coolant, okay, losing coolant because it can get in the cylinders and you will be losing coolant, or smoking white smoke out of the exhaust, and it will be kind of like Swedish in smell. Coolant, when it burns through the exhaust, it's kind of like Swedish in smell. So those are another things that you can expect. Now, hopefully the video will be helpful. Thank you for watching and see you next time.